The following video that you are about to watch is a segment from the JT Sports Podcast. You can listen to the newest episodes of the JT Sports Podcast in its entirety on any podcasting platform. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from, the JT Sports Podcast is available. All you have to do is go to your preferred podcasting platform, type in JT Sports Podcast in the search, and it will pop up. Or you can go down to the description or the pinned comment section down below and access the podcast that way. Any video that is uploaded on the channel is available in audio format on any podcasting platform. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure that you guys go ahead and leave a 5-star review and enjoy the video. Are the Cincinnati Bengals going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Now, this is a really interesting game for me when I look at Tampa Bay because I want to see how Kyle Trask looks. Now, I know Blaine Gabbert right now is like the QB2, but it looks like Kyle Trask is going to be the quarterback who ends up being the successor to Tom Brady when he ends up hanging up the cleats, which is coming sooner rather than later. And when you look at Kyle Trask, everybody talks about how he doesn't have any athleticism, he's not mobile, doesn't really do anything in the pocket, and I definitely understand that. But people act like you can't dominate the NFL just being a pure pocket passer. That's false. Drew Brees was still pretty good. Tom Brady has been pretty good. Like, there are still pocket passers in this league who are still really good. Like, the NFL is all about scheme. It's all about how you scheme up your offense and how you build your team. If you have a great off the line and you have a brick wall back there, then you can have a Tom Brady or a pocket passer back there. Because if you have a good off the line, then your quarterback doesn't have to continue to go outside the pocket and extend plays and pick up extra yardage. So I think a lot of people were a little bit too harsh on Kyle Trask. Yeah, he doesn't have the strongest arm, but he does have a pretty solid arm. He's really accurate. He's really good maneuvering inside the pocket. Like, I like Kyle Trask. Now, was he worth the first round pick? No, he wasn't, but he went right where he should to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the second round. I think Bruce Arians is going to do a lot of great things with them. Also, I'm looking at rookie wide receiver out of North Texas, Jalen Darden. Now, Jalen Darden was one of the most exciting players in all of college football that a lot of people probably didn't know about because he played at a small scale. But when you watch Jalen Darden, he reminds me a lot of Tavon Austin. When Tavon Austin was coming out of West Virginia, he was really excited. He was really hard to bring down in the open field because how shifty he was. He's also a really good route runner. So when you look at Jalen Darden, if this guy gets just a little bit of space, you better look out. And I'm not expecting him to do a lot this season. He's probably not going to get that much playing time because Tampa Bay is absolutely stacked at wide receiver. But I definitely feel like he can be in on a couple of jet sweeps, some screen plays. Like, Bruce Arians will probably cook up a couple of key plays for him to try to get the ball in his hands because this guy is incredible in space. But we're definitely going to see a lot of him in this preseason game. Also looking at edge rusher Joe Teron, who is a rookie. He's going to be pretty much there for depth at this point until, JPP decides to hang it up. So for right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm really interested in looking at the depth that they have right now because you bring back pretty much your whole entire team, your whole entire Super Bowl winning squad, and there's not really any position battles that I think are really worth talking about because, like, they're one of the most complete teams in the NFL. So when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, on the other hand, I'm going to be keeping my eye out on the off the line. Now, I know Cincinnati Bengals fans get mad when everybody says this, but your off the line was boo-boo, and it was the reason why Joe Burrow got hurt. And I know some people are going to say, well, JT, that's a really ignorant statement to make because you can play behind a great off the line and still get hurt. I understand that. But Cincinnati's off the line was cheeks last year, and the fact that it was so trash and that they didn't even bother to try to address it before the season and they just let Joe Burrow go out there and get beat up, I mean, I was like, doggone it, man. So they did try to improve the offensive line. You brought in Riley Reef. I'm interested in seeing how that works out for Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, I don't think he's going to participate in the preseason at all. I think I actually read that in an article from Zach Taylor. They don't plan on giving Joe Burrow any preseason action, I don't think. Maybe that'll change. But I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out on the offensive line and how improved the offensive line is going to be this season. The backup running back job is really interesting to watch. Who's going to be the guy behind Joe Mixon? You lost Giovanni Bernard, who was on the Bengals for a pretty long time. So now you have Samaje Perine, Travion Williams, rookie Chris Evans. You got Jaquez Patrick and Puka Williams. When you look at Samaje Perine, he's not explosive back, but I think he's very good running in between the tackles, very hard, tough runner. You look at Trayvon Williams, I liked him a lot coming out of Texas A&M. I think he was one of the more underrated backs in his draft class. I like him. I think he has pretty good vision, pretty good one-cut ability. I like him to win this RB2 spot and be behind Joe Mixon. Then you got rookie out of Michigan, Chris Evans. I think Chris Evans has some talent there, was kind of unutilized during his time with Michigan. Jaquez Patrick is more of a workhorse. He's more like a Samaje Perine. He's more of a tough-nosed runner, running through the tackles. He's going to run you over. Then you got Puka Williams, another rookie out of Kansas. Puka Williams is more like of a Darren Sproles. He's somebody that you're going to try to get involved in the passing game. You're going to try to get him involved out in space. He doesn't really have great size to take like a full beating as a workload back, but I definitely feel like if he makes the team, he'll be more utilized in passing down, third down situations. Then I'm looking at the whole entire linebacker unit for Cincinnati. As we know, for over the last 3-4 years, Cincinnati has had some of the worst linebacking play in the NFL during that stretch. So I want to see how the linebackers look in this preseason game. Now, the players I'm going to be watching for both teams, I'm definitely keeping my eyes out on Jamar Chase, rookie out of LSU, drafted in the 5th round. And from some reports I've read out of training camp, he has kind of struggled with creating separation. I'm not really tripping on that because he hasn't played football in like a year or so. So this is going to be a really good time to try to get him back into, a real game situation. So we're probably going to see him. And I actually saw a couple of plays, a couple of clips that were circulating around about Jamar Chase making some big time catches, contested catches. But outside of those, he has been struggling to create separation according to reports. Although there has been a couple of clips out there with him having some good catches and contested situations, the reports also say that he hasn't really won a lot of those. So I want to see how Jamar Chase looks in this game. You look at running back Keyshawn Vaughn for the Buccaneers out of Vanderbilt. Didn't really get to see that much out of him last year because it was the Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones show. But we're probably going to see a lot of him this season. In the preseason, So I want to see how he looks. I haven't really gotten the chance to really assess his talent and his skill. John Franklin, remember him from Last Chance U? One of my most viewed videos last season was how I felt like John Franklin could be a secret weapon for Tampa Bay, similar to how Taysom Hill is utilized for the New Orleans Saints, but he ended up getting injured, so didn't really get to see that come to fruition. Now, I don't really know what position John Franklin is playing right now because when I was looking at a couple of depth charts, Outlands.com had him listed as a cornerback. Tampa Bay Buccaneers website has him listed as a wide receiver. So I don't really know what the heck this man is playing. I guess he's just playing all over the field. So I definitely am hoping to see some John Franklin out there. I'm a big Last Chance U fan. So of course, I'm rooting for my guy, John Franklin. You look at rookie offensive guard Carmen Jackson for Cincinnati, who Cincinnati Bengals fans are expecting big things out of him. I want to see how he looks in this game. Then lastly, tight end Thaddeus Moss. Thaddeus Moss, the son of Randy Moss, played with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase at LSU. He was really good with Joe Burrow. So he went to Washington last year, didn't really do anything. Now he's reunited with Jamar and Joe Burrow. Some people think he can be tight end 1. I don't really know. I'm interested in see what he does in this preseason matchup because you don't really see a lot of tight ends going crazy in the preseason. I don't really know why that is. Maybe somebody in the comment section can break it down to me why you don't really see a lot of tight ends making big plays in the preseason. But I do expect that Thaddeus Moss is going to get a lot of playing time in this game. So this is it for my Cincinnati Bengals versus Buccaneers preseason week 1 preview. Let me know some things that you're going to be watching down in the comment section down below. What are some players that you're also going to be watching? And this is it for